because there's a guy out here on the field tonight that could deliver one of them to you free. We'll explain.
I think the Tigers
Cardinals starting lineup. Leading off and playing shortstop, David Eckstein. Batting second, playing left field, Preston Wilson. Warming up in the right field bullpen, Chris Carpenter. Let's hear it for your St. Louis Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to center field. Our nation's colors are being presented tonight by the Joint Services Color Guard of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Please stand and remove your caps for our national anthem. Following tonight's anthem, direct your attention to the sky for an FA-18 flyover performance. Here tonight, to honor our country by performing the national anthem, please welcome country music superstar and Capitol recording artist, Mr. Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that
It's just minutes away. More from Game 3 of the World Series. It is next.
All right, Jeannie, thank you very much. You're at the New Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. For the last time the World Series was in this city, the Boston Red Sox were completing their 4-game sweep in 2004. Now here we are, Tigers and Cardinals, Game 3. Welcome. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. The story has been the pitching, obviously, to this point. Young Anthony Reyes was brilliant in Game 1 for the Cardinals. The Cardinals winning Game 1. In Game 2, the 41-year-old left-hander Kenny Rogers, terrific. He was fantastic through 8, and the Tigers took Game 2. Now we're in St. Louis. Coming into this World Series, the Cardinals' rotation was upside down because they had to go the full 7 games against the Mets in the NLCS. And Tim McCarver, if you're the Cardinals, you look at the pitching matchups the next 2 nights and you think, well, let's see. You've got Chris Carpenter, their best, going tonight.
Yeah, the Cardinals have every reason to come back to St. Louis feeling good about themselves. Number one, they won 1 game in Detroit, and they have their ace tonight, and he is a legitimate #1 starter. In fact, if you look around the National League, no team would rather have any starter other than Chris Carpenter going tonight. At home, he has the lowest earned run average of any other pitcher in baseball by a large margin. He loves pitching here in St. Louis.
On the other side, you've got Nate Robertson. Now, he's been the starter each of the 2 previous series, in the Division Series and the ALCS, for the Detroit Tigers, and Jim Leyland doesn't really know what to expect tonight.
Well, it's been 13 days since Nate has pitched. He's normally not a guy who has great control. He has pretty good control. If this were warm weather, it wouldn't affect him. But because of the cold, the combination layoff and cold, he could be wild early.
So we look back before we look ahead yet again. In Game 1, Anthony Reyes, the rookie right-hander, pitching and winning for 41-year-old, even the series at a game apiece. Now tonight in St. Louis for the first of 3, Carpenter Robertson, Cardinals Tigers, next on Fox. And here is the lineup for Detroit. It's brought to you by Bank of America. Granderson will lead it off in center. Then it's the power-hitting Monroe in the #2 spot. Polanco still hitting third. Maglio Ordonez in right. Carlos Guillen is the shortstop now here in the National League City. Ivan Rodriguez, Sean Casey, Brandon Inge, and Nate Robertson, the pitcher, batting 9th. And here is Chris Carpenter, a 15-game winner, the reigning Cy Young Award from the National League. And he takes his warm-up tosses on this chilly night.
No other pitcher in baseball has an earned run average pitching at home under 2. Carpenter with a 1.81 earned run average at home. He loves pitching here in St. Louis.
Defensively behind Chris Carpenter, State Farm covers the field. Here's how the Cardinals cover the field. Cardinals have gone 4 straight games with an error. And typically this is a very sure-handed group with Wilson, Edmonds, and Taguchi in the outfield left to right. Roland, Eckstein, Belliard, and Pujols on the infield, with Yadier Molina doing the catching for Chris Carpenter. The Budweiser Clydesdales were here tonight prior to the first pitch, and the 2006 World Series is brought to you by Budweiser Select. Brewed longer for a bold taste that finishes clean. Expect everything. Before first pitch, here are the MasterCard keys to the game.
Well, the Detroit Tigers know that pitching is still their strength. And another left-hander for the Cardinals, who were 23 and 34 against left-handers. That is the 5th worst record in baseball, and a red sea here in St. Louis this evening.
Curtis Granderson first up. Monroe will follow, and then Polanco against Chris Carpenter. Ball 1. As Tim mentioned, Carpenter has been phenomenal here at home this season, and really since he put on a Cardinal uniform for the first time. He is every bit the ace that teams look for, and the right-hander is making his 8th career postseason start. He's 4-1. A loser in Game 6 of the NLCS. 2-1 on Granderson.
Carpenter's given up 10 runs during the postseason. 6 of those runs have come in the first inning. So Joe Girardi talking about that, if you get Carpenter, get him early. Certainly true with the Tigers tonight.
Granderson now with a 2-2 count. as he tries to get this offense jump-started here in the first inning. Hart pounding away here in the first inning for Carpenter. And he starts the night with a strikeout on the hook. Now Craig Monroe will step to the plate, and he has been hammering pitches this postseason. He has hit 5 against the Yankees, against the A's, and 1 in game 1. There's the shot in game 2 off Weaver. And there hasn't been a cheap one in that bunch.
Free swinging first ball hitter.
And he goes after the first pitch, breaks his bat. Edmonds is there, 2 out. Monroe, just so you know, who went after that first pitch, hit 400 this season, regular season and postseason combined, when he put the first pitch into play. Here he flies out. He's the second out. And Polanco got a nice hand from the Cardinal fans who remember him from his days in the Cardinal uniform. Digs in.
Cardinals tired of seeing or Monroe hit 2 first ball fastball home runs. Carpenter starting him off with a slider.
Strike 1 to Polanco. Hard to believe Polanco is 0 for 7 in this World Series. The layoff has slowed down his bat. The MVP during the ALCS. And as Carpenter has 2 outs here in the inning, his scouting report.
Talked about getting through the first inning, and he loves this mound. Earned run average the best in baseball and one of the best curveballs. He got Granderson on the curve out of the strike zone.
Polanco spoils the pitch. Ordonez on deck. Series even at a game apiece. Blocked by Molina, ball 1.
That ball went under the plate. That's a 56-foot breaking ball.
Breaking ball is chunked to short. Eckstein ends the inning. Tigers go in order. Cards come to bat against the lefty Nate Robertson. After a half, no score. By Bank of America, David Eckstein will lead off. He's the shortstop. Preston Wilson bats in the number 2 spot. Then Albert Pujols hits 3rd. Roland, Belliard, Edmonds, Yadier Molina, so Taguchi gets the start. And Encarnacion is on the bench, and Chris Carpenter pitching and batting 9th. There is Nate Robertson, the 28-year-old left-hander on 13 days of rest. 1-1 this postseason with an ERA under 6. Had a rough one at the Yankees and a good one at the A's.
Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach of the Tigers, saying that Nate Robertson, the best Tiger pitcher in the month of September.
Starts the night with a fastball, pops in there on David Eckstein, strike 1. The numbers back it up. From August 30th through the end of the regular season, the 2.72 ERA by Robertson was the best on the starting staff. That bunt is a fair ball. Good job by Rodriguez. Grabbed it before it could roll foul and takes care of Eckstein, who is 0 for 10 in this World Series.
Watch Pudge Rodriguez snapping that ball right near the line and getting Eckstein easily. When a right-handed batter bunts the ball, he tries to find the seam between the pitcher and the first baseman. Eckstein unable to do that.
Now Preston Wilson, the number 2 hitter. Reason he is in the lineup tonight and hitting as high as he is, 5 for 5 in his career against Robertson, ball 1. However, for the postseason, just 5 out of 29 with 1 RBI. Line drive caught by Polanco, 2 out. State Farm covers the field. A look at the Tigers defense. here in the first inning. No surprises. The only change is that Guillen goes back to short. And Sean Casey is now, instead of the DH, which isn't used in the National League City, he's the first baseman. Carlos Guillen, the shortstop, 28 errors during the regular season, the most in the American League. Here's Pujols, and there's strike one.
Jim Leyland telling us before the game, with 2 out and nobody on, actually before game 1, he would not walk Pujols, so we'll see.
At least intentionally.
Right.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Or even implying, Joe, that he wouldn't pitch around him with 2 out and nobody on.
3 postseason home runs here in 06. That one down and in. Pujols checks his swing. It's 2-1. Without the DH, as you look at the check swing, the Detroit defense is hurt a little because it takes Ramon Santiago, their better fielding shortstop, out of the game and puts Guillen back at short. Pujols fouls it back and out of play, and the count evens at 2. Quick outs. Eckstein trying to bunt. Rodriguez made the play. Wilson hit it hard, but right at Polanco. Caught by the Detroit second baseman. And now with the bases empty, a 2-2 pitch to Pujols. Full count. Chops it on 2 bounces to Guillen. Hit right at him. The inning is over. Each pitcher has a perfect first. And off to the second inning we go. Game 3 of the World Series. No score. Tigers and Ordonez 1 out here in the second inning. So most runs that Carpenter allowed all year was at the hands of the Tigers. It was a 10-6 loss when Detroit had that sweep against St. Louis in June. So far this postseason, 2-0 against the Padres in the division series, and 0-1 with a no decision, a game the Cardinals won in the NLCS against the Mets. Here's Carlos Guillen, working on a .432 postseason average. Ball 1.
Joe, we had a graphic up in game 1 saying that Carlos Guillen is the lone player in the major leagues to improve every month this year, and he has carried that improvement into October.
Plunks one back to Carpenter, and the first 2 are gone here in the second inning. Chris Carpenter, with 2 out, nobody on, had this to say earlier about pitching in the postseason.
At times when I was younger, I took things for granted, just enjoying being in the big leagues, thinking that it's going to last forever, and all of a sudden it was gone. And now I enjoy going out there and competing one start at a time, and really believing that you never know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know. I can go out and make one pitch and not be able to pitch ever again. So I'm trying to enjoy every start, take one pitch at a time, and treat it like it's my last.
He gets Ivan Rodriguez rolling one to Belliard, and 2 quick innings for Carpenter at the start of his night. The reigning Cy Young Award winner heads to take a seat. Cardinals come up, no score. St. Louis. There's Carpenter coming off a 4-pitch top of the second. And here's Rowland. Life to the fastball for Nate Robertson, who grew up in Wichita, Kansas. And ironically enough, the team he played on as a kid, the Cardinals. His 1-0 pitch is on the inside corner. Good pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Pitching to a guy who grew up in Jasper, Indiana. And of course, that is basketball country. And Scott offered scholarships to Oklahoma State and Georgia.
Fouled straight back. Big rip by Scott Rowland, 1 and 2. How about more on this left-hander, Nate Robertson, as he deals with Rolen to start this inning.
Well, we talked about the good month he had in September with that 2.72 earned run average. Most of the damage this year to Nate done by right-handers. They batted .284 against Robertson this year.
And Rolen went around as he looks back at the home plate umpire. Wally Bell, he's the first strikeout victim of the night for Nate Robertson. One out here in the second.
Looked like a changeup out of the strike zone, and Rolen goes too far. He went around. Close.
Wally Bell, the home plate umpire, did not appeal. He called it himself, and with one out, here is Ronnie Belliard, second baseman who has been moved way up in the order. Did not hit much in the NLCS, had a great division series, and is in his career 8 out of 25 with 5 walks against Robertson. 1 ball, 1 strike. On deck is the left-handed hitting Jim Edmonds, and Nate Robertson has chewed up left-handers all year.
Edmonds, the only left-hander in the Cardinal lineup.
On the inside corner, 1-2.
Robertson, a good job of moving the ball inside outside. The foul ball off the end of the bat came right back inside to Belliard.
Belliard chased it, and it's a long run for Casey, and foul ground. He's there for out number 2. Nate Robertson, the bespectacled left-handed pitcher, and there have been a few over the years in the big leagues. Here are some: Rick Wise, Kent DeColvey, longtime Pittsburgh Pirate, Charlie Kerfeld with Houston, Brendan Donnelly, Gustavo Chassin, joining Donnelly, Frankie Rodriguez with the left-hander Nate Robertson on the mound, wearing him for the Tigers. 2 out, nobody on, and Edmonds takes a strike. Early returns on Robertson with the 13 days of rest. He looks very sharp. Oh, 2. Edmonds during the regular season hit only .156 against left-handed pitching. However, .300 during the postseason against lefties, with a home run that came here in St. Louis against Oliver Perez in the NLCS with the Mets. Ball 1. Just low, 2-2. Dan Deerdorf right in the middle, our good friend, CBS Sports, former Monday Night Football announcer, and a Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, number 72 for the St. Louis Football Cardinals. 2-2 pitch is down and away, full count. Two-out walk. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Hey, Joe, Robertson wouldn't blame his vision on that walk. He knows he's not intimidating wearing the eyeglasses out on the mound. He said he tried to wear contacts when he came up to the big leagues, but his eyes were watering so much he wore his reading glasses in his major league debut. Now, his wife tried laser surgery, said it worked for her, but I'm old-fashioned. As long as it's comfortable, and Oakley customized him a pair of glasses. As long as I can see the mound, I'm good enough. Not exactly a visionary, but Nate Robertson says I can see my success from where I pitch.
Went from reading books to reading hitters and doing a good job of it.
But I think even Chris Myers would agree that the Fu Manchu kind of offsets the glasses. Balances the whole thing out. Ball 1 inside on a 94-mile-per-hour fastball to Yadier Molina. First time that these St. Louis fans have had a chance to greet Molina, who hit the game-winning home run in the 9th inning of Game 7 of the NLCS at Shea, and now a visit from Pudge Rodriguez Out to Robertson with a count 2-0.
Now, the one thing you don't want to do when a guy is swinging the bat well, as Molina is to try to come inside when you're behind in the count. 2-0, 3-1 counts. Try to keep the ball away generally. But you can see the postseason. Molina has been red hot with that game winner that Joe talked about. Game winner and pennant winner.
A 2-0. In at the knees, 2-1.
Inexplicably, Molina taking that pitch. It's rare to be fooled when the count is 2-0 on you. And yet Molina takes one. That's his long ball right there. That's surprising.
High and tight, 3-1. So Taguchi on deck. Full count. Molina thought it was ball 4, and that won't sit well with Wally Bell, the home plate umpire.
Well, Molina takes the 2-0 pitch on the inside part, and now the 3-1 pitch. That pitch appeared to be low. But still, those are hittable balls for Molina. Those are his long balls, those balls down and in.
Walk to Edmonds with 2 out. Now a 3-2 pitch. Edmonds goes and Molina fouls it. It's not only been a turnaround for the Cardinals down the stretch when they almost coughed up that 7-game lead with the Astros bearing down on them down the stretch. That lead got to a half game the final weekend. But it's been a turnaround for these fans as well. The second half of the year they started to believe that whether or not the Cardinals ended up winning the division didn't mean much, because once they entered the postseason, they weren't going to advance. And now here they are in the World Series, tied with Detroit at a game apiece, with Carpenter on the mound tonight and Suppan, who is cementing himself as a big game pitcher, going tomorrow night.
There are 2 teams in the World Series with losing records after the All-Star game. First time in World Series history that's happened.
Robertson trying to get out of what is now a long bottom of the second. It started out with Rowland striking out, Belliard fouling out, and now Molina hits it down the line off the left field umpire, Randy Marsh. It just kept chasing the crew chief, and he couldn't get out of the way. Foul ball.
Randy smiling about that. Tries to get out of the way. Randy doesn't run as well as he used to. But none of us do. Hit on the left wrist. He's okay.
Another 3-2. Another foul ball. Jim Edmonds, who gets a shot in the ball of his left foot prior to every game. And Novocaine, to numb the pain in his left foot, is saying, hey, Yachty, put one in play here. I'm getting my sprints in October 24th. Time called at the plate, granted by the home plate umpire. For the Tigers in the third, it'll be the bottom 3, Casey, Inge, and the pitcher Robertson. Molina hits it in the air to left and right at Monroe to end the inning. Good start for the lefty Robertson. Good start for the right-hander Carpenter. From the other side of the mighty Mississippi, downtown St. Louis, no score after 2. Still looking for their first base runner, Casey, Inge, and Robertson. 7, 8, 9 hitters, and ball 1 misses to Casey, who hit .245 in 53 regular season games after he was traded to these Detroit Tigers from Pittsburgh. There's a strike from Carpenter. Hit 5 home runs, drove in 30, and has been very good this postseason with runners on base. However, he leads it off here in the third. To the right side, and Belliard playing in shallow right field takes care of Casey. Brandon Inge is coming up, and we learn more about this likable third baseman.
Hi, I'm Brandon Inge, third baseman for the Detroit Tigers. A couple of years ago, a couple of guys were daring me that I couldn't kick a 50-yard field goal. Gave it a shot, and I won the money. In my off seasons, I really enjoy playing a little golf. You know, it's just fun to hit the balls into the woods from time to time and go pick them up out of the water. I had some pretty good hands in college. I am goofy as goofy.
And he gets the first base hit of the night for Detroit as he singles into center field. He shows off those good hands. And later in that piece showed off a fantastic trick with a bat as he's on with 1 out here in the third inning, and that gives Robertson a chance to bunt.
Brandon kidding himself about goofy and goofy. Nothing goofy about that swing. The guy is signed as a catcher and is now a terrific third baseman. And you're right, Robertson will be up there trying to bunt.
Throws left, bats right, and takes a ball from Carpenter.
Thing you try to do as the right-handed bunter, you try to bunt the ball toward first base because you have Pujols holding the runner on. So he's late coming down the line. Plus, he's got a bad right hamstring. So if Robertson can get it down anywhere down the first base line, the sacrifice will be successful.
Robertson trying to get Inge into scoring position for Granderson, who's on deck. And time called at the plate by Molina. These are the small things that National League pitchers are asked to do start after start. Get bunts down, advance runners, and it's up to Robertson to get that done here for Detroit. Give Granderson the RBI chance. The 1-0 is down for ball 2, 2-0.
That was a close fastball, but sometimes when catchers have to field a possible bunt, they'll take that low pitch away from a pitcher coming out of their crouch.
And the bunt to the right side. Carpenter will go to the bag himself. Down to second is Inge with 2 out. Sacrifice is good. It scored 1 unassisted, and Robertson does a nice job of getting the bunt down perfectly.
Yeah, this is well done. Too many major league hitters try to be too fine with that bunt, and Robertson realizing that Pujols is holding the runner on, and Carpenter just takes the play himself.
So now it's up to Granderson. Curtis is so far 0 for 10 in this World Series. 10 out of 42 in the postseason. He has hit 3 home runs, driven in 7. And he put Detroit on top here in the third inning. Runner at second, 2 out, and that one gets away from Molina. It will send Inge over to third. Should be a wild pitch on Carpenter, and Molina went after it in atypical fashion.
Well, you don't see Yadier Molina go after balls like that. He tried to backhand it. When you try to do that, it hits off the leather outside the glove, and it caroms to the left of Molina. You know, it's almost like that was a cross-up, because Molina normally with the breaking ball, a catcher anticipates that ball being in the dirt, so you go down with it. Molina, you don't see that, him backhanding a ball like that. But I'll tell you one thing, he's going to be reluctant to call that pitch again, because now Inge is on third, not second.
This is where the speed can come into play now for Granderson if he hits the ball to one of the infielders. That one is in the dirt out in front of the plate, and Carpenter comes in to grab it. 2-0.
Well, they came back with a dicey call. Another curveball. Ball crawling up the chest protector, blocked in more conventional fashion. Inge thought about it, but properly went back.
where the Cardinals caught a break as that ball bounced and hit high up off the left shoulder of Yadier Molina. Bad break for the Tigers. The count's 2-0. Runner at third, 2 down. Detroit trying to strike first tonight. And a ground ball to second. Belliard circles it, takes care of Granderson, who is 0 for 11. And here's that special Brandon Inge talent. Watch and enjoy. We go to the bottom of the third here in game 3. Still no score.
My name is Borat.
Way bottom of the third inning, and Robertson misses up and away with ball 1. So Taguchi first up, then Carpenter the pitcher, then Eckstein. Each side has had a base runner. That's it. Taguchi hits it to center for Granderson, who's back a few. 1 out. Taguchi now 5 out of 9 this postseason, and Carpenter, who's 1 for 9 swinging the bat this postseason and an .095 career hitter, walks in.
Chris had no extra base hits on the year, so if you're the right fielder and center fielder, you have to play Carpenter very, very shallow. Protect against balls being dumped in front of you.
First pitch strike from Robertson. Left fielder Monroe in a typical position, as Carpenter will check on Granderson coming in, and a little to his left, 2 out. 2 quick ones put up by Nate Robertson. Bases empty, and Eckstein will be the hitter next Tuesday on Fox. Standoff returns, all new at its new time, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, followed by the Emmy that Eckstein will step in. Eckstein tried to bunt his way on back in the first inning, but barely got it out of the batter's box when Ivan Rodriguez pounced on it. Strike 1. The top 2 hitters for the Cardinals in their lineup have done very little this postseason, which is important when you have a guy like Pujols hitting third. They came in the top 2 spots, combined 168 average, 16 strikeouts, and only a .257 on base percentage. That is why Albert Pujols has had very few opportunities during the postseason to drive home runs. Eckstein up on the count here, 2-1. And another one into center field. Granderson will tie a record. Makes the catch, and we go into the 4th inning. The big bats coming up. Monroe, Polanco, and Ordonez for the Tigers. Game 3, no score. The Tigers. That means Monroe first up takes a breaking ball in for a strike from Carpenter. Monroe went after the first pitch in the first inning, fly to shallow left center. He's hit 5 home runs this postseason. That pitch is on the inside corner. It's 0-2, and for Monroe, he set a new Tiger record with the most home runs hit in one postseason for Detroit.
Once you get to 2 strikes with the fastball inside, then you can go away, away. Tease Monroe.
In the dirt, ball 1. Tigers made a wise selection when the Texas Rangers tried to sneak Craig Monroe through on waivers in February of '02. Detroit pounced on him, and this guy has developed and has been getting better and better, and has been one of the stars for Jim Leyland this postseason. A 1-2 pitch from Carpenter. Breaking ball, Monroe strikes out, and that's strikeout number 2 for the Cardinal right-hander.
Once again, what set that pitch up was that fastball for a strike inside. And after missing 0-2, he gets Monroe on the curveball. One of the tightly wrapped breaking balls in the major leagues. That's Chris Carpenter's curve.
Brings in Polanco with the bases empty, 1 out. Carpenter grew up and still lives in the offseason in New Hampshire. So he's used to the chilly temperature, 41 degrees at the start of the night. So there are times when they used to have to shovel off the field so they could play. Weather is, for the most part, nice tonight. Not supposed to be tomorrow night. Supposed to have a lot of rain here in St. Louis on Wednesday night.
That last pitch was the most hittable pitch that Carpenter's thrown the Tigers all night. A slider right in the middle of the plate. See how Molina is setting up outside? He has to come inside. That's normally not a good sign for a pitcher.
The 0-2. Eckstein to his left, gets to it. 2 out. We ask you to please join the entire Major League Baseball family in offering support to rebuild the Gulf Coast. Help Habitat for Humanity by calling 1-800-HABITAT. Earlier tonight, the World Baseball Classic joined that commitment with a $1.2 million donation. 16 homes will be built in the Gulf Coast, representing the 16 countries that played in the World Baseball Classic. Bob DuPay was here representing Major League Baseball, and Players Association COO Gene Orza was here representing the players' side. And with 2 out, nobody on, here is Maglio Ordonez, who hit it hard his first time, but lined out to right. He's 0 for 1. 1 ball, 1 strike from Carpenter. Got one of the better home teams during the regular season against the best road team in baseball, going at it here tonight.
Joe, I can't help but think guys about 4 feet apart, Maglio Ordonez, Yadier Molina, both with home runs to put these teams in the World Series. Ordonez against the Athletics, Molina against the Mets.
A 2-1 from Carpenter is hit hard into right center field. Taguchi back is there to end the inning. Ordonez hit it hard again, but he's 0 for 2. 4th inning rolls in. Bottom half here in St. Louis. Still Tigers, Cardinals, no score. Allow a hit. Wilson, Pujols rolling, facing the Cardinals for the first time, and Wilson gets a base hit into left field to start the bottom of the 4th.
Before the game, Nate Robertson acknowledging the fact that Preston Wilson could be the one guy in the lineup to give him the most problems. He is lined out to second and lines the ball to left field for the Cardinals' first hit.
So St. Louis has their first hit. They put their leadoff man on for the first time. Their only other base runner, a 2-out walk given to Edmonds in the second. Here is Pujols. There is ball 1 from Nate Robertson. There's Mookie Wilson, stepfather to Preston Wilson. 2-0 on Pujols. Albert Pujols in his first 17 postseason games here at home. 6 homers, 13 RBIs. His last 6, he's only 3 out of 22 with 1 RBI. And he is up on the count here, 3-0. Prior to this inning, Robertson had been able to get inside on the right-handed batters. Working from the third base side of the pitching rubber. Gave up a hit to Preston Wilson. And now the 3-0 pitch is a strike to Albert Pujols.
Pujols, with all his prowess, does not like to swing at 3-0 pitches. Part of that, the reason for that is that he doesn't see a lot of pitches in the strike zone to begin with. It's tough to come inside the right-handed batters when you're falling behind.
Chase the pitch and shoots it down the right field line. It'll be a ground rule double as it hops out of play. Second and third, nobody out.
That is just remarkable plate coverage by a guy with the best plate coverage. That ball is outside with Rodriguez setting up inside. And Pujols, that ball's about 4 inches off the plate, and he hammers one down the right field line. It's just remarkable how much of the plate he could cover.
Well, the question is always for the Cardinals, is Pujols going to get frustrated and start to chase pitches out of the strike zone. He did right there, chased ball 4 and turned it into a double. It hopped out of play, which took a run off the board for St. Louis and leaves it up to Rolen with second and third, nobody out. Ball 1 inside.
The Cardinals are more concerned with Pujols chasing balls down than they are outside or inside because of his plate coverage, and that was a perfect example. That pitch missed by about 4 inches, and Pujols delivered.
Down and in, 2-0 on Rolen. Jim Leland, the manager, is going to stomp out and talk to his left-hander. We had a chance to visit moments ago with Cardinal manager Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa, this game is heading into the bottom of the 4th inning. The top halves of these innings have gone quick for Chris Carpenter. He looks awfully sharp here tonight.
I agree, Joe. He's, ball's got a lot of movement, generally down, up only when he wants it to. Got a good breaking ball. And he got a big out with a changeup on Granderson, so he's a full package right now.
Your lineup is ready to go with the 2, 3, and 4 batters here in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's been an issue for your team to get guys on base in front of Albert Pujols, and as we speak, we're about to see Preston Wilson try and do that.
Well, I hope Preston has the same kind of bat he had the first time. He hit the hardest ball of the night. And so did Albert. So, we got a chance to break through this half.
Rolen you have in your cleanup spot tonight, and the bases are loaded. A single, a double, a walk. Nobody out, and Ronnie Belliard coming up for St. Louis. Belliard is in this spot with this type situation. 8 out of 26 with 5 walks in his career against Robertson, one of the few guys who had seen this left-hander prior to tonight's start and had success against him. Wilson is in there for the same reason. He started this with a base hit into left. To Belliard.
Jim Leland going out and talking to Robertson with second, third, nobody out in a scoreless game, reminding Nate, don't try to be too fine, because that's what leads to big innings. Do the same thing you did in the earlier innings. Try to make contact with the bat.
1 ball, 1 strike on Belliard. Belliard was the hitting star for the Cardinals in the division series against the Padres. Didn't do a whole lot against the Mets in the NLCS, but came in a .438 hitter here in St. Louis during the postseason. That was against the Yankees by Ken Boyer.
Off Al Downing, the left-hander.
A 1-1. Strike 2, and Robertson needs a strikeout. He has 1 tonight as Jason Grilli, the right-hander, gets loose for the Tigers in their pen.
Normally, with nobody out and the bases loaded, it's not as pivotal an at-bat. But here it is because Jim Edmonds, the only left-hander, is on deck. So if Belliard strikes out, it's going to be tough for the Cardinals to push across a cheap run.
Time called by Ivan Rodriguez. He popped up and wanted to go through the signs again for Robertson.
What's a cheap run? It's a run where you could score even if the hitter grounds it to a double play.
To third, Inge throws home. Out, 1 away, and a big out for the Tigers with Edmonds coming up. The force out at the plate. Inge fires home and score at 5-2.
Inge realizing that it's not hit hard enough to get a double play the conventional way, a 5-4-3, so he comes home for the force. Right play again, particularly with Edmonds coming up. Notice how he throws the ball inside the line. Wilson, on the other hand, trying to run in the line to thwart the throw.
Remember game 1, the throwing error that Inge made on a play at the plate. With Edmonds coming home, now it's Edmonds at the plate with a bat in his hands. Here's the error. 2 errors on the play, the wild throw, and then the obstruction of the runner. Rolen coming around third. Now the bases loaded, 1 out. Robertson trying to get out of this mess, and he starts Edmonds with a strike. We'll say again, against Nate Robertson, left-handed batters hit 181 during the regular season, the second lowest in the major leagues. One ball, 1 strike on Edmonds. Pujols now at third with Rolen at second and Belliard on at first. Caught in odd fashion by Rodriguez.
The backup slider. He's looking for it away and has to cross the plate to catch it. But you're right. Very odd looking catch by Rodriguez.
And the reason why I said it that way is the pitch didn't look that bad.
No. Wasn't the ball in the dirt.
Don't know if it would have been a strike, but instead of 1 and 2, the count's 2 and 1. Edmonds pops it up, third base side. Inge gives it a look. It is out of his reach. 2 and 2. That's for the entire season, including the Giambi home run earlier in the postseason. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 1 out. Nate Robertson trying to get out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. Edmonds grounds it fair, past first, down the right field line. 2 runs are going to score. Belliard is held at third. Edmonds has delivered for St. Louis, 2-0.
Not every hit is a mistake, but this is a mistake by Robertson. Right in the middle of the plate to Edmonds. Edmonds turning on what appeared to be a backup slider, maybe a fastball, thrown about the same speed, driving in the first runs of this ball game.
Hooked it inside the bag, played off that short wall by the right fielder Ordonez. An intentional walk being handed to Yadier Molina. It will load the bases for So Taguchi, and you wonder if Leland will go get Robertson and bring in Grilli. You know, Leland's thinking he can't fall too far behind with Carpenter pitching on the other side.
That's what he implied with us before the game. Of course, he was talking about Robertson and perhaps being wild, but wildness has not been the problem. At middle of the plate, fastball or slider. Think of it, it appeared to be a fastball right now, but Jim Leland saying this is one of the reasons it's tougher to manage in the American League than it is the National League. In the National League, conventionally, you have to pinch hit for your pitcher, but not in the American League. You have to have the guile to know when to get the pitcher. And Leland appears to be staying with Robertson in this particular spot.
Taguchi is 0 for 1 tonight, 5 out of 9 during this postseason, with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. Bases loaded, 1 out. Ball 1. By Tony La Russa's own admission, So Taguchi did not have a good year. But he has turned his fortune around in the postseason. One ball, one strike. In his career with the bases loaded, So Taguchi is a .515 hitter. 17 out of 33. He's got good speed, tough to double. Robertson hanging on, trying to stay in this game and keep his Tigers in it in the fourth. Taguchi pops it up. A big out for the Tigers as Guillen and Polanco. It'll be Guillen, the infield fly rule in effect. And now with a pitcher coming up, Robertson can keep this to a 2-run inning. Jim Leyland stayed with Robertson, and Robertson gets the pop-up for out number 2. Here's Carpenter. Carpenter with 2 RBIs during the regular season. Strike 1. If Robertson keeps this to a 2-run 4th inning, those Tigers should shoot off the field with Guillen, Rodriguez, and Casey coming up. Carpenter pops it up right side for Casey, and a very good job by Robertson to limit the damage. The Cardinals get the first 2 runs of the night. 2-0 St. Louis after 4. Back after this from your local Fox station. Robertson out of the jam. Nate with a terrific job of keeping it to a 2-run 4th inning. And now with Guillen, Rodriguez, and Casey coming up, Chris Carpenter heads back to work. 5th inning. Guillen 0 for 1. Shows bunt, takes the ball low. Carlos bounced back to Carpenter his first time. Stepped to the plate in that 2nd inning with a .432 average. That's the highest during the postseason by a Tiger all time. Still has some at bats and some work to do. On the inside corner, borderline pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike. Alan Trammell hit .419 back in 1984 when he was the MVP of the World Series. Hit 3 home runs. That is foul outside first. Strike 2.
Joe, you talked about that conference with Jim Leyland. You may remember back in game 1 of the LCS when Jim Leyland went out to talk to Nate Robertson. Tigers had a 5-0 lead at the time, and all Robertson did was strike out the side against the Athletics.
Happened in the bottom of the 4th in Oakland. It happened in the bottom of the 4th here in St. Louis. And now Guillen strikes out, and for Carpenter, strikeout number 3. Let's go out to Chris Myers. Chris.
Joe, I'm mingling with the fans here in left field, and you can benefit. What's your name?
Bobby Kelly, and I'm 11 years old.
Okay, Bobby, the fans out here, if you're not lucky enough to be here by watching, you can still benefit. Get a free taco from Taco Bell if a home run is hit to left field in the 6th inning, November 1st, between 2 and 5, your local time, a crunchy beef taco. But 11 years old, that'd be pretty good, huh? Is that why you're out here in left?
Yeah, I'm not here to watch the game, but a taco wouldn't be bad.
Okay, that's good. And between now and the 6th inning is that home run rule, okay, Joe? And that would mean 300 million people. Everybody in the U.S. gets a free taco. I think only Joe Buck can afford that, right? I'm pretty sure Joe Buck can afford it. I think he can. All right, let's go back to you, Joe.
Yeah, we got you. Ground ball to the right side, and Pujols takes care of Rodriguez, who is now 0 for 10 in this World Series.
A lot of tacos.
Who was that that chimed in out there? Now Myers is bringing in guests out there to rip me. By the way, Myers will like this. If there isn't a home run hit in that area in innings 1 through 6, I get to pick after that when the free taco home run occurs.
So you do?
Yes. Nobody in the history of the free world has had that kind of power. Tacos for all. 2 out, nobody on, and Casey slaps one down the left field line. Foul.
Meanwhile, Carpenter has shut out the Tigers through 4 2/3. The only base hit, a single by Brandon Inge. He has been sharp tonight.
And not only the one hit, but he has done it with relatively few pitches through 4 2/3 innings. He's only thrown 43.
One base runner for the Tigers.
Here's an 0-1 to Casey. Off the inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Casey bounced out to second his first time up to 44. Cardinals will have the top of their lineup in the bottom of this 5th inning. Eckstein, Wilson, and Pujols. Casey trying to keep this 5th inning alive. Little flare into left center field. Preston Wilson will play it on a bounce, and Casey has done just that. And now Brandon Inge, who down at the bottom of the lineup all year, hit 27 home runs, will step in as the tying run here in the 5th.
You can see Casey pulling those arms in and hitting it just above the trademark and sink one in front of Preston Wilson.
It would take a well-placed shot by Inge if it doesn't get over the wall to score Sean Casey. He's got that pulled calf. It is a 41-degree night, and he does not run well. Down and away, ball 1.
27 home runs on the year for Inge. You don't see that much power in the National League from your 8-hole hitter.
And one of those home runs that Inge hit was off Chris Carpenter, June 23rd in Detroit. And that 10-6 Tiger win, that's outside. It looked like this. June 23rd, and that was a breaking ball hammered by Brandon Inge, one of his 27. He has the count in his favor here, 2-0. They don't hold against Casey at first, and Carpenter drills the outside corner, 2-1.
Good fastball right there. Prior to that pitch, no one was up for the Tigers in their bullpen. And now there is activity. Jason Grilli threw in the bottom of the 4th inning, so he's ready.
On the outside corner again.
In case Jim Leland wants to go to a pinch hitter.
One on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Inning over. Carpenter just blowing a fastball by Inge halfway through game number 3. 2-0 St. Louis. A portion of this World Series, 2 more to come at Busch Stadium, and the first pitch to Eckstein is up and away. 2-0 Cardinals on top. RBIs, both of them belong to Jim Edmonds. The bases loaded 2-run double in the 4th. Eckstein 0 for 11 in this World Series. Showed bunt, was going to swing, and takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. We had a chance to visit with Jim Leland during the last break. Eckstein injured his left shoulder in the NLCS against the Mets. He's had a tough time pulling pitches as he takes strike 2 over the inside corner. And these Tigers have been working him inside this entire series. 2
guys with injured left shoulders in this series. Placido Polanco for the Tigers and David Eckstein for the Cardinals. Hitless thus far.
Turns on that, but pulls it foul.
I think both teams, because of the injured left shoulder, for different reasons, you don't want to throw the off-speed pitches and allow them to turn on them. So both teams have been throwing mostly fastballs to both Eckstein and Polanco.
The 2-2. Up the middle. Base hit. First hit of the World Series for David Eckstein. And here's our visit with manager Jim Leland. Well, Jim Leland, you stayed with your starter, Nate Robertson. You made that visit like you did in the ALCS. You must have the magic words to that kid. He stepped up and got out of that inning and limited the damage for you again.
Well, he did. You know, like we talked about before, Joe, you know, when we talked to you guys for the game, you tell him just, you know, those two are probably going to score and just don't let it blow wide open. And he did a good job of that. I think he's thrown the ball pretty well.
Jim, that's what I was going to ask you. What did you say to Nate? Just pitch like there's no one on base?
Yeah, I told him, I said, look, you just got to make pitches from here on out and forget those two guys. They're probably going to score, but just don't further the damage by trying to be so fine that, you know, you just don't make your pitches. You got to make pitches, but you can't just guide the ball and try to set it over the plate. You got to throw the ball with authority.
And you are back in the National League or managing National League style, so now you get into that area where you're thinking pitcher, pinch hitter, bullpen, so all that's back in play for you.
Yeah, I'll probably have to pinch hit next inning. You don't like to do it, particularly if he holds it 2-0, but you know, we're in a World Series. We're facing a great pitcher who's throwing very well tonight, and you just can't wait too long, Joe.
Hey, Jim, thanks for your time.
Sure.
Jim Leland, the Tiger manager, leadoff base hit, and while he was talking about pinch hitting, now he's got his bullpen up again. Right-hander and a left-hander with Preston Wilson waiting for an 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Whether Wilson gets on or not, Jason Grilli may be the pitcher to Albert Pujols. I think the only caveat to that is if Wilson hits into a double play, Robertson probably will be allowed to finish the inning.
Wilson trying to go the other way, fouls it, strike 2. Tony La Russa, like many managers, but plays those numbers, and it's one of the first things he looks at. History with certain hitters against certain pitchers, and when he saw Preston Wilson 5 for 5 into the lineup, he went. His history against Nate Robertson, and he's 1 for 2 tonight. Hit the ball hard twice. For Robertson, first time he has faced this Cardinal team, and now making his way through this lineup for the 3rd time. Slide step, and that misses down and in.
Sometimes when a pitcher's in that slide step, the guy he fools is not only the runner at first base, but the hitter. Preston Wilson used to the high leg kick, and that slide step, that fastball was on top of Wilson, but it was inside and low.
17 home runs during the regular season for Wilson, who started the year in Houston. Was cut loose, was out on the street. The Cardinals picked him up, and he helped the Cardinals hold off the Astros down the stretch. Two. A strikeout for Nate Robertson, his 2nd of the night, and it comes with Pujols coming up. The strikeout pitch to Preston Wilson. Last time up, Pujols doubled down the right field line when he chased the ball out of the strike zone with a 3-1 count. So Grilli stays in the bullpen. Robertson stays in the game to face Pujols. This is low.
I've heard pitchers in the National League saying when Albert Pujols is the batter, it's not a plate, it's a platter. Plate is 17 inches wide. With Pujols, his reach is such, it's like 24, 25 inches wide. And that last hit, an indication of that.
Good pitch by Robertson. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 on, 1 out. 2-0 St. Louis in the 5th. Off the end of the bat, shallow left field. Out is Guillen. The shortstop is there. 2 down. Last time up, that double we're talking about, Chris Shelton is in the dugout wearing a microphone, and Kenny Rogers had this to say to Shelton. Ball might have been 8 to 10 inches off the plate. It looked it, and Pujols doubled to set up the inning when the Cardinals pushed across the only 2 runs of the night. This time Robertson gets him on a pop-up and now deals with Rowland, who's 0 for 1. And a foul out of play. Back in 2004, when the Cardinals were swept in the World Series by Boston, the combination of Edmonds and Rowland were 1 for 30 without an RBI. So far in this World Series against Detroit, that combo is 8 out of 17. To check on the runner Eckstein back in time. And they have been driving in runs, including Edmonds with his 2 tonight. Edmonds and Rowland's 5 RBIs help pace the Cardinals, where they are tied with Detroit in this World Series and leading in Game 3. Over but low, 1 ball, 1 strike on Rowland. Detroit in the 6th inning will start with the number 9 spot. That's why Leland mentioned that he will pinch hit. 2-1. Grilli and Ledesma are ready to go if Leland needs to go that direction. Belliard on deck. Two.
Good fastball from Robertson. The reason you have 2 pitchers up is that he may have to bring 1 pitcher in to finish the inning, the other pitcher to start in the bottom of the 6th, because the pitcher is leading off for the Tigers in the top of the 6th inning.
Backs out again. The Cardinals, as Tim mentioned earlier, the 5th worst record in the major leagues against left-handed starters. 23-34, but so far this postseason 3-3. Leading Robertson 2-0 in the 5th. And a check on the runner Eckstein. La Russa and Leland separately talked about what the opposing catcher would do to their running game. Russa talking about Ivan Rodriguez, among active catchers, the best at catching base stealers with his percentage. Base hit left field. 2nd hit of this inning. And now it's 2 on with 2 out. Belliard coming up. Our game summary is brought to you by Verizon Wireless as we play here in Game 3. World Series. Series tied at a game apiece. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And that Verizon game summary, Edmonds with a 2-run double in the 4th. Carpenter 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs. And the Cardinals had the 2nd best home record during the National League play during the regular season.
I think the reason Jim Leland is allowing Robertson to stay in the game, the 2 prior at bats by Belliard. Pop up to first and a fielder's choice. He has not had good swings all night against Robertson.
Hasn't had many good swings since the end of the division series. Even with that history that he brings with him and his at-bats against Robertson, Leland sticks with his 28-year-old left-hander. 0-1. 0-2. Leadoff single by Eckstein, a 2-out single by Rowland. Belliard set up at 0-2. Just inside, ball 1.
Well, that's an excellent sequence. Change up, outside. Now he tries to bust the fastball inside, and it just misses.
Got him on the inside corner, and Robertson, it hasn't been easy the last 2 innings, but he has done more than enough to keep his Tigers in the game. Still 2-0 St. Louis after 5 in game 3. It is a spectacle to watch the Budweiser Clydesdales take their tour around the field. And now Alexis Gomez will come off the bench and bat for Robertson. Takes a breaking ball that misses ball 1. Gomez, then Granderson and Monroe. Alexis has put together these numbers. The home run and the 4 RBIs all came in the ALCS out in Oakland in 1 game. Fouls it back, 1 ball, 1 strike. Gomez got the nod in game 2, and it paid off for Jim Leyland. Nate Robertson had that sort of a night. 5 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits, and a shattered bat. Belliard takes care of Gomez, 1 away. The Chevy Silverado winning number is 453-507-55. Chevy Silverado winning number 453-507-55. Get in the game at worldseries.com/Fox Sports for your chance to win the all-new 2007 Chevy Silverado tomorrow night. Gomez is gone, and now Granderson, who's 0 for 2. 0 for 11 in the World Series, steps in. Breaking ball for a strike from Carpenter. 2 singles tonight for Detroit. Another one for strike 2. Wilfredo Ledesma will come on to take over the pitching duties in the bottom of the 6th, with Edmonds the first one to hit against him. 0-2. 2 out. And 5 strikeouts for the Cy Young Award winner Chris Carpenter.
He has done such a remarkable job in managing the lineup tonight. Not one Tiger has gotten on base to lead off an inning. And it's a graphic we put up during the LCS, and it's certainly worth remembering. When the leadoff batter is on this year, he scored 43% of the time. With 1 out, 30%. With 2 out, 15% of the time. If you could only impress that on young pitchers, or press that point on young pitchers, and have them conscious of that when they get to the big leagues. Very, very important.
He's gone to 2-0 on Craig Monroe, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Fly to center and struck out. Last time up, Carpenter got out in front of him 0-2, then made Monroe chase a breaking ball down and away. Now the count in Monroe's favor, and he takes a strike from the Cardinal right-hander.
Gets behind, throws the fastball away.
Monroe grounds one up the middle. Eckstein to his left. Takes care of Monroe. And Carpenter so far has taken care of Detroit. Bottom of the 6th inning. Bottom part of the order coming up. 2-0 St. Louis. Life guarantees for the if in life. We move into the bottom of the 6th inning, and the bottom part of the order, 6, 7, 8, against the new left-hander, Will Ledesma, for Detroit. This guy has a live arm, as he shows right there. Blistering fastball for strike 1 to Edmonds, who has the only RBIs tonight. A look at our Travelers in sync box score. Edmonds batting out of the number 6 spot with the 2 RBIs. Otherwise, top part of the lineup has been getting on base tonight. A couple of walks mixed in there. The only hit that's mattered so far as Rodriguez takes one off the chest is the one by Edmonds in the fourth.
Will Ledesma, one of several Venezuelans on the Detroit Tigers. Will lives in Maracay, Venezuela, the hometown of Carlos Guillen, and also the hometown of former Major League shortstop Davey Concepcion.
Edmonds lays off 2-2. Edmonds has walked, doubled home 2. Ledesma trying to retire the Cardinals center fielder for the first time tonight. And he does. Strikes him out to begin the bottom of the 6th. Prior to tonight's game, the Roberto Clemente Award was given to Carlos Delgado of the New York Mets
as the 2006 national recipient of the Roberto Clemente Award.
The award given annually to the player who best exemplifies the game through sportsmanship,
thanks to individuals like
community
you,
involvement, and outstanding on-field performance. And you can see the bandage on the right wrist of Delgado. He has had already one of 2 off-season procedures that he will undergo prior to 2007 before returning to first base for the Mets as they begin their quest yet again. 0-1 the count on Molina, who's 0 for 1. Carpenter has thrown, by the way, only 60 pitches through 6 innings.
Carlos Delgado winning the Roberto Clemente Award. And remember, Delgado wears number 21 in honor of Roberto Clemente. Probably the greatest defensive right fielder in the history of the game.
A 1-1 pitch. Down and in. You saw Zumaya getting loose. I'm sure Jim Leland is thinking we've gone long enough in this World Series without bringing Zumaya into a game. Guy who can light up a radar gun, triple digits, getting loose. Molina waits for a 2-1. 3-1 with Taguchi next. Robertson went 5, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. 3-1 pitch. In the air to right center field. Well hit. Ordonez will not get there. Takes a bounce off the base of the wall, and Molina will cruise into second with a 1-out double.
Molina really driving the ball to right center field. We had Luis Gonzalez as one of the analysts during the LCS. And Gonzo talking about how Molina is best when he drives the ball the other way. Proving that true once again. Molina to right center for the 6th Cardinal hit. Now decisions as to whether to walk Taguchi. Do you want to pitch to Eckstein or Taguchi?
Carpenter's in the middle of those two, and if you put Taguchi on, you would see a bunt attempt by Carpenter, who is on deck, only 1 out in the inning, and we may see Zumaya right now.
Yeah, I think he brings Zumaya in to overpower the bottom part of the Cardinal order.
The entire infield comes in for the meeting. And no sign for Zumaya yet. While they talk on the mound, we remind you Game 4 is tomorrow night right here in St. Louis. Our coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific. It will be a matchup of Jeremy Bonderman, a very good young right-hander, against Jeff Suppan, who pitched so well in Game 7 for the Cardinals at Shea Stadium against the Mets. A pitching change coming. Taguchi coming up. And Joel Zumaya coming out of the pen for the Tigers. haven't seen Joel Zumaya get ready to enjoy, this guy can bring it with the best of them. He had some fluid on his right wrist, his pitching wrist. Last worked in game 1 of the ALCS, so he has had as long a layoff as Robertson had. And he misses down and away as he begins his World Series career with a ball to Sotaguchi. Runner at second, 1 out. 2-0 St. Louis on top here in the bottom of the 6th. Ball down the right field line is foul. It kind of takes strategy, Tim, and throws it out the window as far as who you're going to pitch to, who aren't you, who you're going to bunt with. When you are Jim Leyland and you can bring a guy like Zumaya out of the bullpen, he just wants to bring him in, take care of Sotaguchi, and then go right after Chris Carpenter.
Overpower the bottom part of the order. And if you're wondering why Tony La Russa is not using a pinch hitter here, it's pretty obvious. Taguchi's so good defensively. You have a 2-0 lead, so you're thinking defense and not offense. That's why there's no pinch hitter for Tony La Russa. Joel Zumaya with the right arm, where you're thinking there's no way he's going to be in a setup role for long. This guy's a stopper in the making.
Behind on the count to Sotaguchi. 2-1 pitch is grounded foul. 2-2. Joel is a former 11th round pick and a guy who just hit 99 miles per hour on our radar gun. First year reliever. And yeah, I agree with you. There's no doubt that he is being groomed to take over the spot that's held down right now by Todd Jones.
Actually, the ball down in the strike zone, much easier to handle from a guy who throws that hard.
He fools Taguchi and strikes him out for the second out of the inning.
After 4 fastballs, the slider gets Taguchi. You can see the spin coming right into your living room.
So Zumaya, a former starting pitcher, is a guy who obviously has more than just that electric fastball, and he showed it to Sotaguchi. Now Carpenter goes after the first pitch and pops it into right for Ordonez. Zumaya comes in, does his usual job, and we go to the 7th inning already of game 3. Carpenter back to the hill. 2-0 Cardinals. Back after this from your local Fox station. With Rogers. And tonight it's Carpenter working in the 7th inning against the heart of the lineup for Detroit. Polanco, Ordonez, and Guillen. Placido, after being one of the tougher outs over the last few years in postseason in the ALCS, has been shut down. 0 for 9. 2 groundouts to short tonight. Behind on the count, 0-1 to Carpenter here. 0-2 back inside against Polanco, where the Cardinals have been working their former teammate. Polanco so far this postseason has been 5 for 6 when leading off an inning. He leads it off here in the 7th inning, trying to get it started for the Tigers. Carpenter's 0-2. Line drive caught by Pujols, 1 away.
Pujols plays the fat part of the infield, and it pays dividends for the Cardinals. Polanco hitting a ball with some first baseman. Could be in there. Pujols makes the play.
Still just 63 pitches he's thrown tonight. So Carpenter gets the lead man and deals with Ordonez, who in 16 career games against the Cardinals coming in has 17 RBIs, and Molina will go out and talk. With no home runs hit thus far tonight to left field or left center field, for the remainder of the game, Taco Bell is expanding their promotion from foul pole to foul pole. Any home run now wins America a free taco. There may be something wrong with Carpenter. Molina went out to check. Eckstein now calls Barry Weinberg out. And Carpenter will get a visit, and Carpenter is not keeping Weinberg away.
It's like something with his right hand.
Let's take a look at the last pitch, which got the line drive off the bat of Polanco.
Looked like a fastball away on an 0-2 pitch.
It looked like, this is just lip reading at its finest, he said something about his thumb when Barry Weinberg came out there. I agree with you. It's something on the hand. Something with his grip, whether he's cramping up or whatever. He has had some trouble with cramps this season, but that is typically attributed to hot, muggy weather here in St. Louis, and it's anything but that right now. So far, no runs on 2 hits, only 63 pitches, and Carpenter will, I guess, try and throw and see if he can stay in the game.
Yeah, if he does stay in the game, he will be allowed to take some practice throws, trying to grip the ball right now. Cardinals obviously concerned not only about Chris Carpenter, but about this ball game. Only a 2-run lead. So the decision has been made, and I'm a bit surprised that he's not throwing a couple of pitches first.
With 1 out, nobody on, Maglio Ordonez will step to the plate. And that's ball 1 down and away. We'll keep an eye on the Cardinal bullpen to see if they're going to get loose down there, and Josh Kinney will crank it up in case Carpenter cannot finish this 7th inning. Ordonez with a count 1-0. Takes high 2-0. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Just a quick update from the Cardinal dugout. According to the medical staff, it's a thumb cramp, a cramping thumb for Carpenter, and they'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, the cooler conditions could have an effect.
All right, Chris, thanks. Remember, this is a guy, Carpenter, who missed the 04 postseason with a biceps injury. He has cramped from time to time during the season. There's a fly ball into right. Taguchi is there for the out, 2 away. Had to go a long way to get it, so Taguchi takes a hit away from Maglio Ordonez.
And that's why Tony La Russa did not pinch hit for Taguchi in the bottom of the 6th inning because of his defense. Fine play to rob Ordonez of at least a single.
So 2 out, nobody on, and Carlos Guillen will be the hitter. 0 for 2 tonight. You wonder, with a cramping thumb on his pitching hand, what the grip would be like on that big hook, that curveball, and we haven't seen it in the first few pitches since the visit from Barry Weinberg. Down and in, ball 1. 3 pitches ago. You can see having a tough time with that right thumb. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 out, nobody on Guillen, who is grounded out, struck out. And a ground ball foul outside first.
So he's thrown 5 pitches since that thumb problem. No curveballs, but you're right, Joe, about the curveball. You really need that thumb to get the proper rotation. The one thing you do not want to do because of an injury, throw a flat curveball to one of these Tiger hitters.
Fly ball, right center field, should be handled. Edmonds is there, and this game goes into the bottom of the 7th inning. Carpenter continues his shutout pitching through 7. He's allowed only 2 hits. 2-0 Cardinals, and right now let's rejoin public address announcer John Euler.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention behind home plate. Here tonight to honor America with her rendition of God Bless America, please welcome multi-platinum recording artist who has had 8 #1 singles since breaking into country music in 1996, Jo Dee Messina.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
And game number 3 slips into the bottom of the 7th inning. 2-0 St. Louis with the top of their lineup to bat. Zumaya back to work, and he deals strike 1. Eckstein, Wilson, and Pujols. If anybody gets on, Scott Rowland. 99 miles per hour, 1 ball, 1 strike. Coming into this World Series, the National League had not won a World Series game since the Marlins won Game 6 at Yankee Stadium in 2003. The AL has been dominant with this past stretch. The National League has not won an All-Star game since 1996. The AL 9-0-1 since then. The American League this season 154-98 during interleague play. However, the Cardinals behind Chris Carpenter tonight trying to give themselves a 2-1 series advantage over Detroit, a team heavily favored coming into this World Series. 3 balls, 2 strikes now on Eckstein. And a leadoff walk that barely missed, and the Cardinals put their leadoff man on. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal for more on Zumaya.
Joel Zumaya can be a rather colorful figure. He said before the series that his wrist magically healed the moment Magglio Ordonez hit his series-clinching homer in the ALCS. He also said that he knows where the radar gun readings are in every park where he pitches. Obviously, when you throw as hard as Zumaya, it can be awfully fun to take a look. Guys?
Yeah, no kidding, especially when you're cranking it up there in triple digits. One of the shutdown arms in this Detroit bullpen. 1 on, nobody out, and a blistering fastball, 98 in for strike 1 to Preston Wilson.
We talked about strategy a couple of innings ago. Albert Pujols changes his strategy in so many ways. Normally, with a 2-run lead, you'd have Preston Wilson bunting. But if you bunt with Wilson, first base is open. If it's successful, then Jim Leyland would walk Pujols.
Breaking ball in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, with a guy like Zumaya who throws as hard as he does, and with the Tigers holding against David Eckstein at first, there is a big hole on the right side of the infield for Preston Wilson. It would be tough for Wilson to pull Zumaya. So he may go that way.
May be forced to.
That just missed. 100 miles per hour off the outside corner, maybe a little low, 2-1.
Well, you don't want to put the hit and run on in this situation because Wilson doesn't make enough contact. A guy throwing 100 miles an hour, you don't want to force a hitter to swing at the ball.
Outside again, it's 3-1.
All the bad things to happen to the Tigers right now.
And here comes Jim Leland, perhaps to talk about that. But of all the bad things to happen to the Tigers, a walk would be among them, because then you'd have first and second and nobody out. You can see Rodriguez pointing to that left shoulder. That is a universal catcher's sign to a pitcher to keep the shoulder in. When a pitcher flies out of there, he's all over the place. And remember, it's been a while since Zumaya has pitched. So wildness, a possibility, and we've seen it in this inning. A probability in this inning.
Leadoff walk, now a 3-1 count on Preston Wilson. And that's not even close. It puts 2 on for Albert Pujols. And for one of the few times this entire postseason, Albert Pujols will bat with 2 on and nobody out here in the 7th inning. More action for the Tigers in their pen. Grilly again, the right-hander, and the lefty is Jamie Walker. Zumaya was quoted coming into this World Series. There's one at 101. Talking about Pujols, he said, I'm going to come right after him. I'm going to throw him heat. And if he catches up to it and takes me out, I'll tip my cap to him. And he's in a spot now where he has to challenge the reigning NL MVP. Two and 0.
Now Rodriguez wants to talk.
Joel Zumaya had that break, went home for a short while, threw to try to loosen up and test that right wrist. He threw to his 16-year-old brother, who, by the way, possesses a 91-mile-an-hour fastball already. So the scouts will line up for him. Said he is fine. The radar gun says he is fine with his velocity. The problem is he can't steer it into the strike zone. 2-0 on Pujols, 2 on with nobody out. And back to the pitcher, Zumaya, and he throws it away. Eckstein will score. Preston Wilson will come around and score. It'll be an error on Zumaya, and it's 4-0 Cardinals here in the 7th.
That's a bad play by Zumaya. Normally, a pitcher turns and throws the ball to second base. Instead of the 1-6-3 double play, Zumaya goes to third, and the problem with it, Brandon Inge wasn't ready to receive the ball. He throws it behind him. Inge falls down. But your play is to second base. It's a lot tougher to get the double play 1-5-3 than it is 1-6-3. That's what the middle infielders are paid to do. An egregious error on the part of Zumaya. And that opens things up for the Cardinals.
Now Roland. Still nobody out. Pujols at second, strike 1.
I mean, that is a routine double play, going from 1-6-3. You rarely see runners on at first and second, nobody out, ball back to the pitcher, having go to third base. Almost never.
One and 1 on Roland. So basically a 2-week layoff for Zumaya, and it's showing with his control here in the 7th inning of Game 3 of the World Series. 2 walks. As he started this 7th inning fresh, came on to relieve in the 6th. Starting the 7th, then the error, throwing wild at third, and now the count's gone to 1-2 on Roland. 4-0 behind Chris Carpenter here in Game 3. Leyland with a hit, a walk, a run scored tonight. So 3 errors by the pitching staff of this Tigers team as a 1-2 pitch is grounded to the right side. Rowland shattered his bat, advances Pujols to third, 1 out.
Watch the second baseman covering, whereas the third baseman, Brandon Inge, arrives at third. He's a little tardy, and the ball thrown behind Inge. He slips, but the play should have been 1-4-3. It's an easy double play. You go to third, it's not an easy double play, nor does a pitcher rarely or ever go to third in a situation like that.
Zumaya is out, runner at third, 1 out, with Belliard coming up. Grilly coming in. A little too late with a swing, and it's 1-1. Yeah, it's something in the grand scheme of things in Game 7 could get overlooked. But it tied the game at 1. The bunt by Belliard in the second inning. The sacrifice, a safety squeeze, and it stayed 1-1 until the 9th when Molina hit the home run. To the right side, Casey steps on the bag. Pujols holds at third, 2 out. So Belliard's 0 for 4. Grilly gets a big out. Now Edmonds will be the hitter, and we'll see if he faces Grilly or Walker.
A couple of ways that Jim Leyland could go right here. He could bring the left-hander in, Jamie Walker, to face Edmonds, or put Edmonds on, and that's what they're going to do. Put Edmonds on and pitch to Molina.
Second intentional pass of this evening by the Tigers. The other one went to Molina. He'll be the hitter with first and third, 2 out. Cardinals have doubled their lead here in the bottom of the 7th, and Carpenter, his pitch count is very low, less than 70 pitches through 7 innings. They'll go back to work. And Molina walks in. Yadier with a double, the intentional walk, and he's lined out to left.
Rodriguez out in front of home plate, telling the middle infielders where the throw's going should Edmonds take off.
2 out in the inning, and Molina trying to add to a 4-run lead. Got a good rip, strike 1. In the 8th inning, the Tigers will have Ivan Rodriguez, who's hitless for this World Series, 0 for 10. Sean Casey and Brandon Hinge. A ball, 1 strike from Jason Grilly. Foul, strike 2. Ball, 2 strikes. Molina back to the pitcher. Good play by Grilly. And he avoids further damage in the inning. 2 walks and a big error by Zumaya, leading to 2 more runs. 4-0 St. Louis after 7. We'll be right back. But first, here's a special message about the Fox Hit Show 24. 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Detroit. Only 70 pitches so far for Chris Carpenter. But he has been dealing with that cramping right thumb. Back to work. 8th inning. Ivan Rodriguez 0 for 2. And a strike on the outside corner. Rodriguez has grounded out twice. He's 0 for 10 in this series, and he is one of the subplots so far in this lineup for Detroit. 0-2. Rodriguez came in 9 for 26. Good career numbers in his history against Carpenter. Ball 1. Fernando Rodney, another hard-throwing right-hander, getting loose in our Nissan game summary. The combined work by Granderson, Polanco, and Rodriguez first 2 rounds compared to now, and you can add another. Now 0 for 33, the combination of Granderson, Polanco, and Rodriguez. A group that combined to hit .326, 4 home runs, and 15 RBIs against the Yankees and the A's. 1 out here in the A's.
Wow, is that revealing?
6 strikeouts now for Carpenter, and Sean Casey digs in. Casey, one of the 2 Detroit hits tonight.
Baseball with a lot of statistics and a lot of categories. We're going to add one more. Post-cramp pitches. In post-cramp pitches, Carpenter has not thrown a curveball.
So at this point, to be serious about it for a second, if you're Detroit, until he shows you one, don't you eliminate that?
No, I think so. You go up and look for fastball, slider, everything hard.
One out, Casey 1 for 2. And there is the breaking ball, so scratch that, strike 1.
Curveball for a strike to Casey.
Fastball high, 1 ball, 1 strike. If this World Series should go back to Detroit, Carpenter would work in either Game 6 or Game 7. Casey rips one into right field, a base hit. Taguchi over to cut it off, and Sean Casey is 2 out of 3.
Tigers only 3 base runners on the night, and Casey's been on twice.
Jim Leyland elected to stick with the lineup he had been going with since Casey went down with a calf injury in the ALCS, where he moved Polanco for the first time this season into the number 3 spot. With Casey back in there playing first base, he has kept Polanco hitting third. Tailing pitch, 94 miles an hour, strike 1 to Inge. Sean Casey, a guy who had seen Carpenter plenty with his time in the National League and within the division. That is up and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. You wonder if tomorrow when we get to the ballpark, if Jim Leyland, depending on how the rest of this night goes, will stick with Polanco, who's 0 for 10 in the number 3 spot, or if he'll put Casey back up there. Bat Polanco second. That's high and away, 2-1 on Inge. Marcus Timms on deck. Two balls and a strike on Inge, 1 for 2. To third for Roland foul. 2-2. Spots 1 through 6 in the Tiger lineup tonight, hitless, with 5 of the 6 strikeouts that Carpenter's picked up. Detroit trying to get anything going. Have a 1-out hit from Casey and a 2-2 count on Inge. To third, Roland backs up, out at second, Belliard in the middle, double play. Carpenter pitching through the 8th, bottom half, rolls in. St. Louis batting up 4-0. Meaning he will lead off in the 9th inning, and the new pitcher batting 8th is Fernando Rodney. We're in the bottom of the 8th, and so Taguchi will lead it off. Carpenter on deck. This guy can bring it 95 miles per hour. Carpenter has allowed no runs on 3 hits, struck out 6, walked nobody. Taguchi comes up empty. It's 0-2.
Thing about Fernando Rodney, he not only has a good fastball, not quite the fastball Zumaya has, but a lethal changeup.
Nobody getting loose for the Cardinals in their bullpen with a pitch count very manageable for Carpenter. Turning in his best postseason start so far this year. Trying to give the Cardinals a 2-games-to-1 series lead. 1-2 now on Taguchi. Total of only 9 hits in this game. The Cardinals have 6 of them. And are so far tonight making 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. But 2 big runs scoring in the bottom of the 7th on that throwing error over to third base by Zumaya. 2 unearned runs. Now the count's full on Taguchi.
We talked about how unusual it was just to see Zumaya going toward third base, because first and second, nobody out. Ground ball back to the pitcher all the time. All the time a pitcher goes to second base. And we're going to tell you how rare it was for a 1-5-3 double play attempted by Zumaya.
Now a walk, so Rodney lets Taguchi off the hook. And it will bring in Chris Carpenter and give him a chance to bunt. Our HP player personality is Chris Carpenter. Gets a huge hand as he digs in here in the 8th. Favorite music artist, Dave Matthews. As a kid, watched Tom and Jerry. As an adult, loves to watch Tom Brady. And is afraid to fly, which is not a good phobia to have when you're a big league ball player. But he gets through it, and he has gotten through this Tiger lineup here tonight. Now up there to bunt, and he takes a ball up and in.
The last time in World Series play that there was a 1-5-3 double play was 1923 by the San Francisco, by the New York Giants over the New York Yankees. So that's what Zumaya was trying to do. You talk about turnaround World Series history. He was trying to do something that had not been done since 1923.
Carpenter gets the bunt down. Play is at first. Sacrifice is good. 1-4 with Polanco taking the throw.
Zumaya going to third base. Brandon Inge so far to go. Keep in mind he's playing Pujols to pull. So a long way to go to third base. The play clearly should have been to second base.
So Carpenter, we learned more about him. Our HP player personality. HP, the computer is personal again, and he's doing everything right. Gets a great ovation heading off as he got coming into the at-bat. Drops down the bunt, and now Eckstein with a runner at second, 1 out. Taguchi with good speed in scoring position. Strike 1. Coming up next, your late local news, except for those of you on the West Coast. Roughly 2 hours, 45 minutes into this game, playing in the bottom of the 8th. Cardinals leading 4-0 behind their ace, who will try to finish it in the next half finish. 1-1 on Eckstein. Jim Leyland has been trying to tell anybody who will listen that this Cardinal team, although selected as underdogs coming into this World Series, was a dangerous club for his Tigers to play. The reason being, Eckstein didn't play a lot in the second half. Edmonds didn't play for a month. Roland was not swinging the bat well in September. That's changed. And when you've got a 1-2 like the Cardinals feature with Carpenter and Suppan, the duo tonight and tomorrow night for St. Louis, especially after the Cardinals took game 1 in Detroit, he's been trying to convince people that this is a difficult team to play, and he won't have to do much convincing after tonight. The 2-1. Eckstein lines a base hit into right. Taguchi will hold at third, and it's first and third. 1 out.
Seems like the Tigers went away from their strength. A changeup to Eckstein. His second straight hit. Hitless prior to his last at bat. So he singles to right field. The Tigers are learning that they have to stick with the hard stuff to David Eckstein. You could see the squeeze right now. Preston Wilson, a very good bunter. He strikes out a lot. You have Albert Pujols on deck. If he strikes out, then Pujols would be the hitter. A lot of things Tony La Russa can do in this situation.
Ball 1 low. Russa had a squeeze opportunity with Belliard in the 7th, elected not to do it. Belliard grounded out. Now it's Preston Wilson, who tonight has a hit, a walk, and a run scored. And is up on the count 2-0 with Pujols waiting on deck. Chuck Hernandez is the pitching coach for Jim Leyland. Recommended by Jim's good friend Don Zimmer and others, many others. After the 9 years that Hernandez spent in the Tampa Bay organization. Walker and Minor. The left-hander and the right-hander getting ready for the Tigers in their pen while the count's gone to 2-0 on Wilson. Rodney has pitched his way into more of a squeeze situation if the Cardinals want to go that way. Has chance of a pitch out with a count 2-0. Now 2-1. Here some say one way to avoid a squeeze is to throw strikes early, get ahead in the count.
That's right.
Preston Wilson has the count in his favor, 2 balls and a strike. Taguchi at third, Eckstein at first, only 1 out. Now 3-1. And if you're ever going to get a pitch to hit or bunt with Pujols on deck, you figure to get it here with a count of 3 balls and a strike. That's low to load him up. 2 walks and a hit in the inning, and Albert Pujols will step to the plate. And here comes Jim Leyland, and out goes Fernando Rodney.
The reason Leland is making the move right here is Zach Minor's a sinker ball pitcher, and Detroit hopes to get the ground ball double play.
That's who's coming in. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bottom of the 8th, 4-0 St. Louis. This for Minor is his first appearance of the postseason. World Series Game 3, Pujols. Over but low, 1 ball, 1 strike with flash bulbs popping around the park. Fans here think they are going to see something magnificent. Either that or Minor from St. Louis has a lot of tickets he's left here tonight. Good pitch again. Pujols went 1-2.
Boy, Minor coming in with 2 wicked sinkers in on the hands of Albert Pujols. I would expect to see that pitch again.
Pujols asked Minor for time, not the home plate umpire. Braden Looper getting loose. A 1-2. Do it again. I think Looper is getting loose for a couple of reasons. One, we've seen Carpenter dealing with that cramping right thumb. And 2, if the Cardinals should blow it open here in the bottom of the 8th inning, Tony La Russa may leave well enough alone and go to his bullpen with a lopsided score. He's only thrown 82 pitches so far.
Right.
The 1-2 to Pujols is tapped at the plate, and that came up and caught Rodriguez. That happened to Molina back in Detroit. Now Rodriguez writhing in pain.
Now the ones that come up, that hit the ground and come up under that protective cup, very, very painful. Obviously, they usually come on balls that are down in the strike zone. Pujols just getting a piece of it.
While Rodriguez gets the attention, we'll look ahead to tomorrow night. The probable starting pitchers, Jeremy Bonderman, another good young right-hander for Detroit, will take on Jeff Suppan. He will make his 4th start, his ERA 1.86 and virtually untouched in 2 NLCS starts. Lost in Game 3 of the division series here in St. Louis to San Diego. But he was the starter in Game 7. And in that game, Suppan worked 7+ innings, allowing 1 run on 2 hits. Cardinals won it 3-1 over Oliver Perez and the Mets to get to the World Series, and now they're 3 defensive outs away from a 2-1 series lead over Detroit. But the Tigers will have their big bats in the 9th inning. Nafy Perez, then Granderson, Monroe, who's homered 5 times this postseason, then Polanco, the MVP of the ALCS, then Ordonez.
Here it is once again. It was a slider that came up. Actually, it appeared to hit Pudge in the right thigh. It did not appear to hit that protective cup, but it got him good.
Meanwhile, Minor has made some very good pitches for a guy who hasn't been on the mound since the end of the regular season. He's tied up Pujols, that last one up and away, and he is in search of out number 2 and a strikeout if he can get it. Bases loaded, 1 out. 4-0 St. Louis, bottom of the 8th. That skips away. Coming to the plate is Taguchi, safe. It's 5-0. It's a wild pitch, and you have to believe Rodriguez, who's been in some pain. Let's take a look at this pitch, down and in and not shifting over to it. It gets behind Ivan Rodriguez to make it a 5-run lead.
They tried to come back inside to Pujols. Remember the first 2 check swings, and then Pujols staying alive. Minor tried to come back in there. It was in the dirt, skips by Rodriguez to add to the Cardinal lead.
Now it's 2nd and 3rd, first base open, 1 out, and Pujols is hit by the pitch. And Albert shows how mad he is about it by tossing the ball back to Zach Minor.
Well, trying to come back inside. I was a little surprised that Jim Leland didn't just walk Pujols. Pujols tossing. You don't see that too often. A guy get hit in the thigh and tossing the pitch back to the pitcher in such docile fashion.
So now the base is loaded, 1 out for Roland. And we may very well have seen the last of Chris Carpenter tonight. It's been a 10+ minute rest on a cold night in the dugout. La Russa just got finished saying something to Carpenter. Here's a ground ball to 3rd. Nafy Perez steps on the bag, throws across, out, and the inning is over. Good play by Nafy Perez just into the game. Stepped on the base, threw across, short hop Casey, who dug it out, and game 3 goes to the 9th inning. Cardinals take with them a 5-0 lead to the field. About 20 minutes during the bottom of the 8th inning. The combined reason why Carpenter is taken out. Shattered bat, tough play. Roland stays with it, 1 away.
Long delay, cramped thumb, and a 5-run lead. That's why Chris Carpenter's out of the game right now.
Granderson 0 for 3. Curtis is looking for his first hit of this World Series. He's 0 for 12.
Yeah, Curtis looking for something to take into tomorrow night.
Little high ball 1. Bonderman and Suppan tomorrow night on your Wednesday night game 4. 1-0. In the air to left field, long run, Preston Wilson. He's there, 2 out. And the Tigers are down to their final out as Craig Monroe will step in. Only a few have left this sold-out Busch Stadium. They want to celebrate at the end of this game 3. A 5-0 lead and a 1-1 count on Monroe. Strike 2. The last shutout during World Series play was last year's Game 4 on the part of the White Sox in Houston. That 1-0 victory in the clincher. Bobby Jenks closed it. Tonight it is Looper closing it in a non-save situation after Carpenter did his thing for 8 innings. To third for Rowland. The St. Louis Cardinals have taken Game 3 of the World Series and lead it 2-1. Carpenter, 8 innings, no runs, 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, and a victory to go to 5-1 in 8 career postseason starts. Our Chevrolet player of the game is without a doubt Chris Carpenter. The Cardinals depended on their ace tonight. You can log on to worldseries.com/boxsports and vote for your most dependable player of the postseason and a chance to win Chevy's most dependable truck, the all-new Silverado. Because of the 7-game NLCS, the Cardinals did not have their ace Carpenter until Game 3. They won Game 1 behind Reyes, lost Game 2 behind Weaver, and turned to their ace tonight. And he turned in a beauty for 8 innings.
Overpowering stuff by Chris Carpenter tonight.
We led the first pitch tonight talking about starting pitching. And first, Anthony Reyes, who got into the 9th inning of game number 1 and got the victory, a surprise win. He was dominant. And then in game 2, it was the 41-year-old Kenny Rogers, who was brilliant through 8 and has been through 23 shutout innings this postseason. And tonight, the Cardinals turn to Chris Carpenter. 8 shutout innings on 3 hits. He gets the win. Cardinals up 2-1. Jeannie, Joe, and Kevin will be along after this.